Hello my beautiful friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nova Gnome Creations and I'm Nova, and I'm so happy to see you today. I hope you're doing awesome, and I hope you and your loved ones are taking care of the best that you can. Hopefully you had a good weekend. So today is the newest installation of the 100 Days of Halloween that I am participating in. And while I'm chit-chatting with you here at the beginning, I'm actually going to be finishing up the sewing portion of this square that I've been working on. And then I'm going to show you guys what squares I have made this week. So what is the 100 Days of Halloween, at least on my channel? Because obviously 100 Days of Halloween could mean a lot of different things for different channels. And I'm sure that there are tons of channels on YouTube that are doing 100 Days of Halloween, and it means completely different things than what it does for my channel. So what it means on my channel is there is a couple of other yarny YouTube creators who I will have all of them linked in the description box below. And we were all hanging out on a live stream over on Rainy's channel, which is the Woolly Llama Shop. And like I said, I will have her linked below. And we were hanging out, and she was talking about wanting to make a Halloween blanket. And the idea that she had was to kind of do a little collaboration with 100 squares for a Halloween blanket, where you did a square every day. And she was going to go through and compile a list of squares, have a little container, which she has upgraded to like a magic jack-o'-lantern now. And she would go on daily and pull from this container, and she would get a number, and then she would go to her little document and she would see what square that was, because she compiled a list of 100 squares and they each have a number, and that's how she was going to pull them. And several of us thought that this was such a fun idea, and we wanted to join in definitely to different degrees, and kind of had our own ideas of what we would do for the project. So Missy over at Missy's Yarniverse and More, she also decided to do a 100 square blanket and do a square every day. So Rainy and Missy are both doing a daily video where they share what square they're doing, and they're actually doing different squares. And Missy is kind of coming up with them on the fly and seeing ones that she likes online, or freehanding them, or doing kind of whatever. And then Rainy has her list, and she's drawing numbers every day, and they have been doing that now for, I want to say 30 days. I want to say 30 days today, or not today. I don't know. The last that I knew a couple days ago, 30 days. So they are doing that on their channels. And then I decided that I was going to make vests with my squares instead of a blanket. So I'm making my goal is to make a big vest for myself, like an adult-sized, plus-sized vest, and then also to make 3 little vests for my 2 nieces and nephew in Michigan. So I'm going to be in Michigan extremely soon, and I'm so excited about that, and I thought it would be such a fun thing to have like little matchy kind of Halloween vests with them. Obviously, mine is going to be different because I'm doing theirs in a style where I make like one big granny square for the front and one big granny square for the back, and then do, you know, shaping and all that to make it into a vest. Whereas mine is going to be made up of a bunch of granny squares. So they're not going to be the same, and everyone's, even theirs are all going to be different, which I think is the fun of it, you know. But they're going to be matchy in the aspect of they are tacky Halloween sweater vests that we would all have. So that is what I'm doing. And by the way, guys, if you want to see what I'm talking about, by the way, for their vests, go back and watch my last video for the 100 Days of Halloween. I did pop up a picture in that one of what I was talking about and went a little bit more in detail about that. And I actually showed one of the squares that I had finished for one of the vests. But also, by the way, guys, what I was going to say is I am moving extremely soon. I am moving now this weekend. Now that it is Monday, I am moving this weekend on Sunday. So if you haven't seen my whole big update about that, I have a video on my channel that is like 45 minutes long or something. It's a pretty long video where I just went into a huge detailed like life update situation. And I think it's like, what is it titled? It's like huge news or something like that, which it is very huge news. Let me see what it was called. Huge life changes. Come chat with me. And the thumbnail for it is like, what? Let's chat. And then there's like a little like drawing, that type thing that's like, surprise, I'm moving from Texas to Michigan. So if you haven't seen that and you want to know like what's going on with me, because I've got a lot of changes coming up, and definitely watch that video. But I don't know that I have said the date, the timeline for anything since then, like when things got a little bit more hammered out. And yeah, so it is Sunday. It's so crazy, guys. It's so crazy. Wish me so much luck. Keep me in your thoughts and all that stuff. It's gonna be insane. And I don't know how that's gonna reflect on the channel just yet, because I'm gonna be having so many things going on with this change. I'm going to still do the channel and I'm going to still be here, but I just don't know what capacity everything will, continue at. That'll just be something that we'll all have to come along for the ride on. All right, guys, now that I have filled you in on what this is, are you guys ready to see my squares for this week? I've got quite the hefty little pile here. By the way, I am aiming for 6-inch squares for mine, but I aim for 6 inches. Sometimes they come out more like 7 inches. If I make one and it's 5 inches, I'll add on a round to it to make it bigger. And then sometimes after the adding on that round, it's 7. So mine are between 6 and 7 inches, but it's okay. The way that I'm joining them together, there can be a little bit of variation in size. So not a big deal. All right, so this is the one that I was just finishing sewing when I showed it to you guys. And oh my gosh, you guys, normally I have this prepared, my little Halloween notebook. I normally have this already open and all that, and I kind of go through and put them in the right order so that I can tell you what the patterns are, and I forgot. So we're doing it on the fly this time. All right, so this one was one that I needed to go back and do, I believe. Yes, and I can do my little boxing it off. I'm boxing them off as I go, with like a little box around the number when I have finished them. So you see there's like this sparkly blue gel pen when I finished them. I'm writing them all down, and then when they're done, I do that. So this one is the Mio My Crochet Spider Applique, and that is a YouTube tutorial. I will link or write down at least all of the patterns in the description box, and if I freehanded, then I'll put that in the description box, but I'll put all the pattern info in the description box. So for this one, I double stranded some of that green Hirschner sparkle yarn with this like little sock yarn that I have that is really cool. This always reminds me of a bowling alley floor. That's what I always think of when I see this. I just love the colors. It's black with like neon yellow, pink, and blue. And so I love that, but it is a sock yarn, so it's thin and it's stretchy kind of textured, and so I double strand it when I use it. I had another colorway of that I've used before and shown in projects, but that's the one that I have currently. So there we go. And this is just a basic square that I double stranded some I oh gosh, what's that yarn called? Hobie Universe. I double stranded some regular Hobie Universe with just some purple from Just Yarn from the Dollar Tree, the Premier yarn. So this one, it's a quite floppy and thin now after making this square, but I have this purple color, and then I double stranded it with Hobie Universe, which, oh, there it is. I was like, I don't see it. This absolutely gorgeous, stunning, absolutely delicious yarn. And it is a one weight super fine. So another good one for double stranding, but it adds like a rainbow and sparkle, and I freaking love it. And it's got a blue metallic strand that runs through it, which I thought was so pretty with the purple. So it started out purple, and then as it got further out, you can see it changed colors. So I've been using this a lot for double stranding, and I think it just, it's so pretty. And it brings the cohesiveness to like my color scheme and my theme a little bit. The next one that I made, let me find the pattern for it. Okay, this one is actually by the same person, I believe. Did I just say Me Oh My for that one? Yes. So this one is also Me Oh My Crochet, and it is also a YouTube tutorial, but this is their ghost applique. And I did it in white and gray. I'm using that Halloween skein, the orange, gray, and black one. Where is it? This Hirschner's yarn. This is, I caked this up, but it comes in a skein form. So I started with white, and then it changed on its own to light gray, which I'm just kind of letting it do when I'm doing some things. So like for this ghost, I thought it would be totally fine. And then I put safety eyes on it. So she didn't have safety eyes on hers, but I'm really enjoying putting safety eyes on some of these. I've only done it on a few, and I wanted to do it on more. And I thought that these kind of oval shaped kawaii eyes would be so cute on a ghost. And so I put those on there, and like I've shown you guys before, you can't see the posts at all, completely flat. You can't feel them. Literally, you can't feel them at all. And the way that I do that is after I put them on, I take my hot glue gun and I press the metal part of the tip down. Oh, I put it away. I had it sitting over here. I press the metal part of the tip down against the post and just melt it, and it goes flat. And then that is like how I flatten the backs of them. So that is the Me Oh My one, and that one is a 7-inch square, which is why I prefaced this with that, because some of them do come out a little bit bigger. This one is GoldenLucyCrafts, Cat's Full Moon and Black Cat pattern. It is a blog. So in this pattern, she has the cats with the full moon, which has this tree limb that the cat sits on and a moon. And what you use for that pattern is another pattern of hers, which is this black cat. So you're kind of using two patterns. I did modify this one. So for one, I just made a square with a moon in the middle of it instead of making a moon applique. And I also had to heavily modify the length of my tree limb, because she uses a like really thin yarn. I realize I'm saying she, GoldenLucyCrafts. I would assume that's a she. They use a really thin yarn, and the size that they put down for this was that it was like 7.5 inches long. And I was like, oh, that's too big for my square. So I modified my stitch counts and just kind of played around with it to make it smaller for mine. And I purposely wanted it to kind of hang over the edges, but I made sure not to sew it into the edges of my square. That way I can still connect my squares together without having any issues of the stitches being sewn shut. But I did think it was cool to have it kind of hanging over the edges. So I sewed that really well. And then after I made it, I realized I made my branch the same color as a good chunk of my background, which I found unfortunate. I think it would have looked better if it wasn't. I don't know why. I just didn't even think to check the background, because I made the square. I was like going through and making like several squares and then going through and making appliques. And I just didn't even realize that I had used the same. This was the Hirschner's variegated yarn, and I think it might have even been the skein I just showed you. And I just didn't even think about it. But yeah, so it has the white from that, and then also the dark gray and the black. And then for the black cat, I used some, where is it? Oh, here it is. It's on my desk. I used these little, I have these little minis that were from Hobby Lobby clearance a couple years ago. And I had bought a few of them, and I'm down to one little set of them. And I'm using this for some of the details, some of the appliques and stuff like that for this project. So that is my little cat with the moon. The moon is kind of smaller than I would have wanted. Like, there's a few things about it, the way that I ended up having it come out, that I would have done differently, but I still think it's cute. I still think it's cute. The next one is, oh, I forgot to write this one down. Give me 1 second. I'm going to a different video actually where I talked about this. I've made this square before. Let me see if I can find, oh yeah, there we go. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit not together on this one today. Okay, so this is a pattern by Alyssia Creates. So let me write that down real quick because I forgot to. Alyssia Creates. Now this one is an Etsy pattern for her sun and moon granny square. But all the other ones I'm showing you guys are either like free-handed or free patterns. Because I'm actually making a point of doing free patterns, and this one was just one that I already own. Okay. So this is the moon square from Alyssia Creates. And I've done the sun and the moons when I made that jean jacket a while back. Well, I didn't make a jean jacket. I modified a jean jacket on my channel, and I made some really cool sun and moon squares. I really loved the yarns that I chose for those. They were so freaking cool. You should go watch that video if you haven't. But this one is made with, this is Furls yarn. This like pink and purple was Furls yarn that I was gifted in Happy Mail, and I love it. It's so freaking pretty. And then this is double-stranded, like just some kind of basic white, and a hand-dyed yarn that's like blue and white and has like flecks in it. I don't know how much you can see the flecks. For some reason, I feel like you can see the flecks more on the back. So there's like little bits of pink and stuff in there. And then I put my this little red with that yarn I got from Paint Some Way that I've been using quite a bit in here. I've got all my yarns that I'm using for these, but I double stranded them together and made a cake. And then I'm using this in here too, trying to kind of keep things like, I don't know, in the same vibe of color scheme, if you will. Lots of sparkle, if you've noticed. Like literally everything has sparkle. Sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle, and sparkle. Those are the ones I've just shown you. Okay, the next one is, this is Pretty Kitties by TriflesNTreasures blog. I showed you guys a Pretty Kitty TriflesNTreasures one with the same applique in purple, but I did like a different square. And then I was saying I wanted to do a black one with like a little moon and everything. And I actually did this one before I did that last one that is also a cat with moon, but it's a different, totally different vibe, totally different pattern. So there is that one. And I purposely didn't attach the tail down because I think it's so cute having this like 3D aspect to it of the little tail hanging off of it. And then the next one is Crafts Haunted Harvest Square. This is from a blog. Now, I went very different with this one than what they did. So for right off the bat, I made this square where I was going to do orange in the middle, and it actually perfectly color changed when I was done with the middle to where I only had to do like a couple slip stitches to use up the rest of the orange, and then it changed to gray on its own. So I went ahead and just did gray. And then I switched to sparkly purple, the same way that I had shown you guys with the last sparkly purple with that Hobie Universe double stranded with the Premier yarn. And then my red Heart Super Saver metallic yarn. And I did this so that I could turn the orange in the center into a jack-o'-lantern. But I hate the colors. I hate the colors. I don't know why. So something about like the gray, purple, red is just like not my vibe. I don't know why. I just don't like it. So to try to make myself like it a little bit more, I took another orange from those little minis and I surface stitched all around this darker orange of the Hirschner's yarn. And I surface stitched another layer like further out. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's 2 layers of the orange. Sorry, no digging. Sorry, my dog's just trying to dig at my rug. And so I did that to kind of cover up the gray a little bit more and like expand the jack-o'-lantern face out a little bit. I don't know. I do actually like it better now that I did that than I did before. But these are the little applique things that you make as part of the pattern, the Haunted Harvest Square pattern that is on their blog. And these are just done exactly like they say to, and I believe I used a 3.5 millimeter to try to make them a little bit smaller and tighter. And then I just freehanded this because I don't remember what they did for their stem, but I was looking at it and I didn't want to do it that way. And then the pattern also has like a smaller pumpkin and like a squash or something. And I didn't do those ones. So this is my version, but it is heavily modified of the Haunted Harvest Square. And then last but not least is, you guys know how in my first 100 days of Halloween video, I talked about making the tutorial for the Skull and Crossbones, and that I had a pattern I had written a couple of years ago, like literally several years ago, and I was going to dig it out, and if I still liked it enough to think it was worth sharing, I was going to make either a tutorial or a pattern. And then I revisited it in a later video. And I was like, actually, I rewrote it because I didn't think that the tapestry crochet way that I had done it was really the best way to do the Skull and Crossbones, and that I would rather do it as like an applique motif that you sew on. And then I redesigned it. I asked you guys if you wanted to do a tutorial or if you wanted a written pattern, and I dropped the tutorial last week. Well, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys what the other one looked like because it still exists. I already made it, and I figured I'll go ahead and put it into my blanket or my vest, and this is what it looks like. So now you guys can see what I'm talking about, where I was saying it doesn't really translate super great into this trying to do color changes sort of way of doing a design. I don't know, it's very messy and like not super clear what it is. So I'm so happy that I redesigned it and did it with the applique or motif kind of way of doing it. But since I already made this, I might as well include it. And this was one of my earlier pattern designs from several years ago. So yeah, I thought, you know, I'm still proud of it for when I made it, you know, for when I came up with it. So that was my like kind of tapestry. I'm not even sure if tapestry crochet is the right word for it. But you know, doing color changes type of crochet. But I did work it in the round and stuff, so it did take a lot of designing. But all in all, just because something takes a lot of designing doesn't mean that it ends up being the best finished product. And I'm so much happier with the applique version that I came up with. But that is my update for 100 Days of Halloween, week 4. And I will have a short coming up on my channel where I show you guys all of those squares, and I also do a quick recap of the other squares. What I do for my short is I spend a little bit more time on the ones that I just did this week, and then I just kind of really quick flip through all the other ones I've done so you can kind of see all of them at one time. And of course, they're all shown very briefly because it's a short. If you want to see in detail all the other squares I've made and what patterns they were and all that stuff, then you can of course go watch the full videos that are on my channel for the 100 Days of Halloween. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I have been up to for squares this week. I am going to continue making these and continue working on them. I do have one vest finished, one of the little vests, but I am saving it to show you guys during 13 Days of Yarnoween. So 13 Days of Yarnoween is going to be coming up real soon. Well, kind of soon. It'll be coming up in October. It'll be the 13 days leading up to and including Halloween. And I think that the vests would be a really fun thing to show during that, because it's an ongoing project kind of going on throughout this season. And especially like mine isn't going to be done like in advance really. But I like to, for my 13 Days of Yarnoween, they are very much like, I want to show you finished projects, not like work in progress type things. So having, some of my finished projects for that saved up is something that I like to do. Also this Saturday is Gnome of the Month. So, yeah. So, okay, I'm moving on Sunday. I have so much going on right now, but this Saturday is Gnome of the Month. I do have a little gnome for Gnome of the Month this month. It is nothing crazy. It is small, but it is adorable. So I will be doing Gnome of the Month. If you want to send in a Gnome of the Month submission though, please get that into me like ASAP, because I can't guarantee that I will be able to include your Gnome of the Month in the Gnome of the Month video if you send it really late. So a lot of times when people send in their gnomes or like anything where I have like an open collab, they'll send them in like in the middle of the night before the video would come out. And because of that, I a lot of times can't pre-edit them and have them like ready to go that like Saturday morning or something. I kind of have to wait until Saturday morning to edit my video. But with me literally moving on Sunday, I am not going to be editing that video on Saturday. There's just no way. I would say I will probably have that video edited by Friday afternoon at the latest. So if you would like to send in a gnome and you haven't already, you can send in any gnome that you have made. It does not have to be crochet. It can be anything you've made that is a gnome. You can send it to my email, which is always in the description box below my videos, but it is novagnomecreations@gmail.com. You can send it to me and put Gnome of the Month in the subject line, and make sure you let me know what name to credit you as, and I will get you into the Gnome of the Month video, and everybody can see what gnomey goodness you have been up to. But definitely send me that ASAP if you are going to be sending in a gnome. That way I can get that video edited and then not have to worry about it this weekend. Because like I said, I am leaving at the crack of dawn, before the crack of dawn on Sunday. My flight leaves at like 6 a.m. So it's going to be a very busy weekend. Anyways, guys, I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you again real soon. Bye, guys.